A few weeks ago, I posted a vlog and I was talking about reintroducing yourself to people in your life that have known you for a long time, but that don't know this new, improved version of you. And I figured I would make a whole entire video on it because I got a lot of comments talking about how difficult this is and how a lot of people are also dealing with this same transition. I have a few little notes that I think could help you guys out. If you're new here, by the way, I'm Erin. I post a lot of videos on spirituality, self-development, and also lifestyle content like vlogs. If you are interested in my channel, please subscribe. I would love to have you. Basically, it's a little peek into my mind and also my life. So yeah, subscribe. And if you are subscribed, I love you so much. You mean the world to me. Okay, let's get into it. I have my notes here, so if I'm like looking this way, that's why. Basically, this is going to be showing up as the new you and how you can actually implement showing up as the new you around people who already know the old version of you. I want to read off something I wrote because I feel like it could be helpful. Your best self is not someone that you've become. It's someone that you've always been at your core. Your life experiences and programming have changed you and made you something that you are not. Understanding this is one of the biggest lessons for being able to show up as your new and improved version of yourself, because truly your new and improved version is really just your authentic self. So what I mean by that is you have always been the version of you that you feel is your best self. Even the version of you that is going to be you in 50 years, you have always been that person in your core. Nothing has changed. You haven't gone outside of you and found something that's made you completely different. It's always been within you. And at this point, it's almost like you're stripping away layers that aren't who you are. So you're removing the things that you've had on top of you that have made you a person that maybe you've been showing up as, but really they aren't authentic to you, to become the person that you are within. So I think that helps it make it a lot easier, because I feel like sometimes you can feel a little fake or get almost like imposter syndrome when it comes to introducing this new version of you, because there's so many things that you might think people think about you, but really as long as you're living from the authentic self, it doesn't matter what other people think about you, because they're living from their own projections and it most likely has nothing to do with you. Just live from love, be proud of who you are, and that's pretty much all you can do, because you're not doing anything wrong by improving. Everybody should be hoping that they're changing and improving and evolving throughout their life. And the goal is not to stay the same. That has never, ever, ever been the goal. When reintroducing yourself to people who already know you, here are a few things to keep in mind. Practice reflection. Take note of how you feel after seeing people. Take note of traits or habits that you may adopt when you're around certain people, and use this as a way to learn rather than criticize yourself. So for me, I went on a family vacation and I brought my journal with me, and I wrote down a lot of the things that I felt while with these people, any traits that I noticed about myself that I felt were coming back to the surface that I had worked to get rid of, or that I had worked to unlearn, or beliefs that I think maybe I was falling back into, or even friendships. If you have someone who's around you that is really, really negative, and maybe you adopt some of their negative beliefs or thought patterns, and then when you're not around them, you've become this better version of yourself and you reintroduce yourself to them, but you find yourself kind of falling back into those negative thought patterns. I like to look at this as a lesson. It's just the universe almost like testing you, like, okay, let's see if you're really going to be able to use this practical knowledge that you've learned in real life, or if you're going to slip back into old patterns. So being able to journal through that stuff and being able to like identify it rather than brushing over it and almost like being asleep to all of the things that are going on within your mind can be very liberating, and also, you know, turning everything into a lesson. I love doing that, and I feel like if you're watching this video, you probably do too. The next thing that I would say is practice speaking your mind. Abraham Hicks said something that was really resonating with me, and it was that politeness is a lie. And I really, really agree with that statement, because politeness is typically just tiptoeing around people or saying things of what you think people want to hear, or being a certain way that you think someone wants you to be. I like to have this thought in my mind that my goal isn't to be nice, my goal is to be kind. My goal is to be a good, kind human being, because you can be nice and not be a good human being. Being nice is almost like, in my perspective, the word nice is kind of like fake. It's like the person you put on when you're having like customer service calls, or when you are meeting a family member's partner, or just stuff like that. It's like this person that you put on to basically feel out how the other person's gonna be, and it's fake, it's a lie. So be authentic to who you are, speak your mind, and just focus on being kind. Being kind is the best thing you can do. And to yourself also. The next tip that I have is respect your boundaries. This is a big one when we're reintroducing ourselves, because typically that old version of ourselves had very loose boundaries and kind of let people walk all over us or say things about us, or we were just made ourselves small around these certain people or around certain circumstances or groups or whatever. And being able to respect your boundaries helps remind yourself that you have the power and that you are responsible for making sure that you feel safe and that you feel heard and taken care of and seen. You are your own responsibility. Your responsibility isn't to make anybody else comfortable, just yourself. And I know that sounds hard to hear because it's like, oh, but we're supposed to be nice and we're supposed to be catering to everybody. And yes, we are, but if we're not serving ourselves, we can't serve other people. We can't serve from a place of lack. You have to fill up your own cup before you can, pour into someone else's. Don't tolerate anything less than you deserve, and boundaries is a big one with that. The next little thing to keep in mind is realize that as much as you love and care about these people, you're living for you and their perspective doesn't matter as much as you may feel it does. Yes, we want to be seen and loved, but if someone in our life can't see us for who we are they really meant to have a deep connection with us? Everyone's living from their own lens. Just because you've changed in your world doesn't mean you've changed in theirs, and that's okay because you're not living in their world, you're living in yours. So that's important too. A lot of people will maybe not realize that you've changed or maybe won't be able to accept it or believe it, but you're not living in their reality. You're not living in their thoughts and their beliefs and what they are, perceiving in their senses. You're only living in your own. So it doesn't really matter what they think if you think about it, because you're living in your world. So just focus on making your world beautiful. And then the last little tip I have is people around you are constantly changing as well. Try your best to look at them as they are today, not who they used to be or who they can be in the future, just as they are today. If you want to be accepted as the new and improved version of you, you also have to try and do the same for others. So remember that as you are learning and changing and becoming this new, better version of yourself, a lot of other people are too. And yes, sometimes I feel like when you're going through a spiritual journey, you have a really rapid period of time within a year or 2 years where you become very different than you were before. But everybody is changing, and whether it's at a slow pace or a fast pace, things are changing within these people, and if you want to be accepted, you have to accept others as well. So try to see them as they are today and accept them as they are today, not who you want them to be and not who they used to be, just as they are today. Okay, I feel like I talked really fast. Was that fast? I don't know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it was insightful and maybe you got something out of it. If you have any tips for me on reintroducing yourself and basically showing up as the best version of you and feeling safe in that, please leave them down below because I would love to hear them, and I'm sure the other people that are watching this would love to hear it as well. I talk really fast. Do you guys even understand what I'm saying? Anyways, I love you. Have a good day. Goodbye.